Hello and welcome to the next Moodle HTML API tutorial, which is the Moodle HTML Writer API. This is a follow-up to the previous one, which is the Moodle Output API, very key in our journey plan to becoming expert Moodle developers, PHP Moodle developers, in developing a solution which is about learning data analytics using and inclusive of artificial intelligence. This is a YouTube video to that effect, which augments our course, part of the training course. But we're publishing this one on YouTube as one of our short video tutorials. So if you're joining us via YouTube and you're not yet registered and enrolled in the training course, you get the details at the end. In the meantime, if you have any questions, do not forget to ask in the comment section. Of course, we appreciate if you like, subscribe, as well as share our video. Now let's get started. Firstly, let's go through what the table of contents of this training course, short training video tutorial is all about. So we're going to go through the concept, the introduction, the syntax, the demo problem question we have, and the solution to the problem. Now this will help us to understand it even better, and then we'll summarize everything. So Moodle HTML Writer API. So the HTML Writer API in Moodle provides a structured and object-oriented way to generate HTML markup within our Moodle plugins and custom code. Instead of manually concatenating strings to build HTML, which can be error-prone and difficult to maintain, HTML Writer offers a set of methods to create HTML elements and the attributes. So what this means essentially is as a prerequisite for this course, you have to understand the concept of HTML and how to write HTML. Because what HTML actually does, HTML Writer API does, so you write the HTML in a structured and object-oriented way. So you don't have to go through writing the tags. You actually program the tags to be written for you. Okay, so let's go to the syntax now. Right, so think of it programmatically, or think of it as a blueprint for building HTML elements programmatically. You tell the HTML writer what kind of element you want, for example, heading, paragraph, a link, and what content it should contain, and what attributes it should have, for example, CSS classes, IDs. The API then takes care of generating the correct HTML syntax. Why do we recommend you use HTML Writer? For readability, for maintainability, for consistency, and for integration. So yeah, just like it's mentioned there. So let's go to the syntax. Or rather, that was the introduction we just did. So now the syntax. So the core of the HTML Writer API revolves around creating an instance of the core output HTML Writer class and then calling its methods to generate HTML elements. So once we have created an instance of the core HTML Writer class, then calling its methods to generate the HTML elements is what this is all about. So we've got some code here, example, whereby what we're doing here is we accessing the global output object, which contains HTML Writer instance. Remember we said we're going to just use creating an instance of a class or calling on it. Or if you have a fresh instance, if you need a fresh instance, this is where you now create a new instance. Once you have an instance, usually accessed by the output as we did here, you can use various methods to create HTML elements. Here are some common ones. Excuse me. So tag, string, tag, array attributes. Notice the syntax. Got that. So essentially, these are all. This is the syntax of how it works. So bool close tag equals true. So the most fundamental method creates are an HTML tag, specified attributes and content. So these are instances of it doing just that. So especially as is above. So you got the tag there, got the attributes there, got the content there, and then you got the close tag there, right? So specific element methods, specific element methods or convenience methods. So these are some of the convenience methods. Provides dedicated method for HTML elements, often making the code more readable. So you got div, just like it says here, you can assign. Now we'll practice all of these. Then you got the heading, then you got the paragraph, the link mode, image, button, label, start tag, which is very important because there must be a start, and then uh, the end tag because everything has to start and end. And then outputting the generated HTML. Once you build your HTML structure using the HTML writer methods, you typically output it using the echo. So echo is where you output it, right? So for example, echo HTML heading welcome, then echo this is a paragraph, this is some introductory text, paragraph, this is some introductory text, then the link, then you echo everything, right? You echo the link rather. So that's that one. So let's go to the demo problem question for which one will try and make this video a little bit quicker. Okay, because we've already gone through page API, we've already gone through output API. So instead of typing up the code, we just from copy from the solution we have and build along. So you have to build along with me to begin to grasp and master exactly what we're doing here. Okay, so example problem question or the demo problem question. Let's say you need to display a simple product information box in your Moodle block. This box should include a heading called feature product name in bold, a short description, and a button that says build details linking to a specific product image. Assume you have the following data available in your PHP code. Okay, so this is what we require of you, or this problem question. Your task is to use the HTML writer to generate the HTML for this product information box. As a tip, it should look just like this below when done. So this is what it will look like once we've done. So let's work it out for ourselves here using this demo as an example. Okay, so solution to the problem. Okay, now that we've seen what it's supposed to look like, let's go to the solution to the problem. Okay, so here we go. Solution to the problem. Here's how you can solve this using the HTML writer API. HTML writer API. Note the code, just code along as in the demo video, and taking into consideration parts of the code you are already familiar with, such as page and output API. These parts will just be copied and pasted into the demo to make the video shorter, since you already are familiar with the logic of how we code. Once again, this is what the finished solution looks like. HTML writer demonstration. That will be the header, then just like that. Okay, so this is the code. the raw PHP code, which if you copy or paste um, into your own Moodle solution, it should work for you as a local plugin. However, you will have to be registered and subscribed in the course for this to work. So let's go to my or your local IDE. I'll be using VS Code so we can see how this works. So what we do is we'll just make this like this, and then we'll have two windows open in the same frame. Okay, so first of all, we're going to create. You want to open a new folder, a new directory in VS Code. You click on the like any of these files at the bottom. As such, you click on this, and then you're able to create a new folder separately. If you clicked on any of these already existing folders, it creates a subfolder. So now let's call this HTML writer demo, right? Because that's the exact directory name we've got there. So now we created that one. We can now close this, and inside of HTML writer we create HTML writer demo directory. We create new files, create index.php, and then create another file called version.php. This is important because, as you know already, in Moodle, on your Moodle introduction, module training course, the version is very, very important for all Moodle files, all Moodle solutions applications you create. Okay, so we've got that one there. So go back into your index now, index file, and first of all just put the opening PHP tag, and that sets you up to our PHP file to write PHP. So what we're going to do is start with the Moodle boilerplate for all solutions, which we can get from any of our existing Moodle files, and I've just got one here, so I'm going to click on it and just copy from here all the way to there, and that allows me to, now let's go back to our new folder, index.php, and then close this one so we're not confused, and then just paste it there. So we got everything we need there. Now I'm going to remove the directory structure there. So so we have it, we can see a little bit clearly. Let me make that here like so. Okay, so then I can now change this to local HTML writer demo. Just so for reference, it's very, very important, because once you write this, now it stays written. Copy this, and others will be able to reference what you've written properly, and will be able to follow up on it. And this is accurate. 2025 onwards, that's the website name, and this is accurate because the creator of Moodle, that's his name and website address. So that's that one there, already done. So to start with, what we got here is just descriptions. So it says So what we can do is actually put all of these inside of here, but we're going to leave this one out because this is just in case you're following along YouTube, you're not yet subscribed, and you're trying to still work it all out by yourself. Now you experience difficulties. That's why we ask you to register and join the training course. But you do need a Moodle environment. This is part of the startup for that one, and it also gives us um, some some theory of what we're doing, of how we created this in the future if we were to upgrade it or update it or troubleshoot it. So that's why this is in the training course, but it will not be in here. Instead, um, I will just add this part of it. So that is going to be there. Right, so that's that. And then, so you're saying everything I just told you just now is okay. Yeah, let's do this. Let's include that part, which essentially is your config. This is needed because this is the beginning part of it to initialize the database connection sessions and makes Moodle API available throughout your application. So we start with the require, okay, which we're already familiar with in our other Moodle solutions. It is exactly two two directory structures up uh, from your present location. So ensure it's like that. Okay. We are now okay. So there are some things you need to know about, which is we're not explicitly avoiding classes like HTML UI and HTML table in this particular version. So in your version, which you could be using HTML5, which is the latest, or you could be using earlier versions. If you're using earlier versions, you probably will be able to use HTML underscore UL and HTML underscore table because they are supported in your environment or they were there depending on your configuration. However, in my configuration, um, it struggles with Moodle 4.5.2 to use this HTML underscore UL or HTML table to write. In other words, it can't find a class, or it has difficulty finding the class. Therefore, to avoid all of that, and in other words, if you're having those such difficulties, this this particular Moodle code um, uses earlier classes, uses their base classes, so you will not experience those difficulties. So, so the next thing we're going to do is define the page URL and set up the page essentially. And like I mentioned earlier, we're not going to type all of this out because we already have gone through this with the page API and the output API. Okay, so we just copy all of that and let's see what do we got here. Since we got more than we back and forth, no, it's all there. Fine. So we got all of that there now. Just align it properly so it's neat. Okay, so that's all there. So what we've done here is just set the URL, which is normal, set the context, page, set title, page set heading. Okay, and then the next thing is to echo the header, uh, which includes the navigation header. So the header we just said we're going to echo it, which is one of the requirements of the Moodle. So we got that one now. So now we're going to start the HTML content generation using Output API and HTML writer. To do this, we start with defining some variables. So we're just going to copy all of this. Oh, no, maybe I should just start the typing now because this is the part we're not yet familiar with. So product name, okay, so we've got that one. Product description, so we got that there. Okay, and we close up that line of code and we got that there. So that's the product description. Now we create the product URL. To create a Moodle URL object, this ensures the URL is properly formatted for Moodle. So we just copy this. Because remember we reference it, okay? So we put it there. So we got that there too. So once we got set the product URL which we referenced, okay, which we referenced, we now start building the product info box. Okay, so we start with this. That builds the product info box. So So that opens the box in quotes for us to start putting info, okay, as part of the product info box. Then after that, we create a heading. So let's just copy all of that, and this is going to be, in other words, product info box. We start concatenating what we want to be inside the box. So output, we're going to output the heading feature product. So we're going to output that feature product. We're going to heading, which is the heading feature product, and give it a text of 2XL font bold text gray. So so let's start it off now by just copying it. Add a product name in bold. So next we add the product name. And then next we add the product description as a paragraph. Similarly, we output all of these using the output just as mentioned earlier. And we add a view button. Like so. So we add a view button here, and we give it a CSS class of exactly what it's supposed to look like, and then we give it a role, and then okay, let's do that first of all. And then we assign all of these to the info box content here. So all of these are now assigned to info box content using the HTML writer link. So when it's clicked on, this is where it goes, okay, for everything defined so far. So that's how you use the HTML writer link class. Okay, now output the entire product info box using HTML writer div. Okay, so all of these, let me just use this one. So we can end it. So that is all is input there and ended. Additional examples of Moodle HTML generation using HTML writer tag. So we're just going to add this now for list examples and for generating ordered list and ordered list, and then the table of okay, now let's just leave that one for now. So this is where we create. So this is where we show for the list examples, and then this one. Now list examples, because you remember what we're trying to do. This is list for list. This is what we're trying to do when we say list. The next one after list will be table, which is this one here. Okay, so we're gonna go there down. So this is for table, and we define all of these using HTML writer. And then that one is for the table. And then once we've done that, you can now output the footer. It closes the main content area and includes the Moodle standard footer elements, closing the entire HTML document. Okay, so that's there now. So this code demonstrates how to generate HTML using HTML writer class and the output object within a Moodle development environment. We start by creating a div element to contain all the product information instead of the output start tag. Okay, so we start with the div element. We build this content into a string product info box content, which is that one we just closed up now, and then use the HTML writer div to wrap that content with the div tag. We add a level 3 heading with output heading. The output object is responsible for rendering common Moodle elements like headings, ensuring they communicate correctly with the correct thing. Let me quickly go to where we set that heading for 3. Here, that 3 there is where we set the heading, which is heading similar to this one above. So essentially that's how we got started, and everything else was added onto it. So you just read all of this if you did further explanation, in addition to what I just demonstrated and while I was typing it along or copying and pasting it along. So that's essentially how it works. So the version for this one, we're going to use let me just copy this version here and give it a version of today's date. So go in here, remember we created this file, close this one off. So we create this empty file, so we're going to paste this one here, and because this is HTML writer demo, for our references we'll leave it like that, and then HTML writer demo. And today's date we change it to 06 okay, we leave it like that, and then we leave the requires like so, and we save it. Whenever we change or we add an incremental one, you're able to update yourself totally and upgrade or update what's happening with your code. So we now save everything we got, and hopefully we don't have any errors. Because if we do, we have to troubleshoot together. So new tab to the right, and then so I'm gonna change this to HTML writer demo, and there you go. You have it right there. The code worked. So that's how to use HTML writer to produce what you want. It's not very difficult, but once you got the hang of it, you're fine and you're good to go. So that's how that works. So now we've done that, let's go to the assignment. So the assignment for you now, essentially, is not very difficult. For you to do exactly what we've just done, but this time change the product name to Excellent Learning Progress. The product description to Wow, a new way to render HTML without writing HTML. And the product URL to new Moodle underscore URL, like so. The point of this, because exactly what you've done before, is for you to do it yourself and for you to gain experience and to understand how to code using HTML Writer API. So you submit your code here, and that will be for HTML Writer API. So in summary, we've gone through the concept, we've gone through the syntax, we had a demo problem and solution. Now, to deepen your understanding of the Moodle HTML Writer API, here are some helpful resources: the Moodle Developer documentation, the Moodle source code, Moodle forums and communities, and example Moodle plugins for it. So, in summary, this short course should give you a solid foundation using Moodle 4.5 HTML Writer API. Experiment with different methods and explore the official documentation to unlock its full potential. Let me know if you have any more questions, and you can have these questions in the comment section of your YouTube video, or if you're a registered and enrolled student in our training course, then you can use the student forum to ask your questions, study together, or send me an email at info@debonairtraining.com. The website for the website address for our LMS is www.debonairtraining.com/LMS for the LMS. And of course, like I said, you register and you're enrolled, and then you satisfy our conditions, you'll be able to take this training course. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you very much for taking this course, and I'll see you in the next one.